Altered item number 52, AE, the rubber duck. The origin of this item was at one point under investigation by the Bureau. The creation of an altered item is something that the research sector has looked into. While previous reports have hypothesized on the circumstances behind item alteration, AI-52 is the first so far with such direct evidence. Before containment on January 2, 2001, the rubber duck was discovered in the home of a Bureau agent. What department this individual was employed at is not known, as the name has been redacted. According to one supplemental document, quote, "It was discovered that Agent was bringing known paranatural materials into his home, illegally taking them outside of the oldest house." End quote. The report specifies that only altered materials were taken, implying that the alteration of AI-52 occurred in the agent's home. As mentioned at the beginning of this report, this occurrence was being actively investigated, but the results of this have not been recovered, if any progress was made in the slightest. Interjection. This type of issue would fall under internal investigations. It is likely that any results from this inquiry would have been stored in the investigation sector. That department was closed off to regular traffic due to A010, a hostile entity that took up residence there. Despite multiple requests, there has been no indication that security staff intends to run any further recovery operations. Before recovery, the terminated agent reported that the rubber duck would follow his daughter around the house and quack at all hours of the night. It would later be located in his daughter's closet, then brought back to the oldest house for study. Rumination. Here. Right here. How can no one else see this? Altered materials being stolen by an FBC agent and taken home? The trafficking of altered materials is something that is actively being investigated. Candle discounts the possibility of moles in the Bureau, and we have outright attempts to steal with the likely intention of selling on the black market. There would be no other explanation, right? I doubt the records of this investigation still exist. Probably destroyed during the Hartman incident, or maybe by shady parties that would want to keep this a secret. Either way, I know it, but I can't prove it. If this makes it into any final cut of this report, I have one person I can cross off my suspicion list. If it gets cut, well, we know what side he's playing for. In the research sector, a round of general tests were performed. An audio recording of some of the experiments was left by staff. I will have it added into this report as an addendum.
Addendum. AI-52 testing audio spliced here. Unknown researcher performed the experiment.
Altered item number 52AE analysis, session 2. I will begin by introducing various stimuli to the item. First, a low voltage electric shock. No response. Next, I will introduce heat via a standard Bunsen burner. No response. Next, a series of solutions will be applied, each with a different value on the pH scale, from 0 to 14. No response to any value. Next, I will attempt to communicate. Can you understand me? Can you understand my words? Quack if you can understand my words. No response. This concludes session 2. We'll need time to prepare further tests.
No further experiments were discovered. It should be noted that at some point, a member of that sector touched the object with bare hands. From there, it was learned that this is a triggering event for the rubber duck's behavior. Quote, "This item forms a of unknown purpose with anyone who makes direct physical contact with it and begins to follow them, quacking often. This has led a researcher named entering cardiac arrest. Though due to the individual's health issues, the matter may not be connected to the item's effect." End quote. While the redactions make it difficult to properly transcribe this information, it is implied that direct physical contact may cause AI-52 to form a bond with the individual. This causes it to follow them. It is not revealed if the researcher in question is the same woman who performed the tests in the previous audio file, or if a different researcher was affected. From this point forward, one containment procedure states that, quote, Direct contact with this item is not permitted. Safety gloves are required when handling." End quote. While the rubber duck is normally contained on Floor 3 of the Panopticon in Unit 6, the item is currently on loan to the research sector. Despite being absent from the containment sector at the time of the Hiss invasion, it was still affected. Minor variances in behavior were reported by the director during its recovery. According to the containment document, quote, "The item travels considerable distances with surprising speed." End quote. This was the observed behavior before recent events. Based upon the aforementioned accounts noted after the invasion, a dim red light consistent with the hiss was emitted from AI-52. This was not reported by any prior staff. Additionally, no physical contact was made, which normally is the trigger for the bonding process. Rather than following the one bonded with it, it would run away as if resisting efforts to be cleansed. Supposition. While there is no evidence, and probably never will be, it is possible that the hiss made use of the innate effect of the rubber duck to move distances quickly to resist cleansing. Like any parasite, it does not wish to be removed from its host, whether that be human or altered item. Observation. No new altered effects were reported, unlike with AI-10 and AI-46. The possible reason is these were linked with a different paranatural entity and not the hiss. This entity being Former. In the case of AI-7, AI-11, and AI-49, each presented a behavior that avoided attempts to contain and cleanse it. The mannequin duplicated itself to avoid detection. The red light kept pushing anyone away who attempted to make contact, and the anchor hid itself in the clock's threshold. In each case, its innate effect was used for the purpose of remaining linked to the hiss and avoiding the director who could sever the link. This indicates a vast difference between the hiss and Former when it comes to influencing altered items. Once the item was cleansed, it was returned to its cell in the Panopticon. For now, this concludes my report on AI-52, the Rubber Duck.